Good evening, everyone. Just trying to join everybody. Welcome to whoever is joining. There we go. Hi, Susie. Hi, Cass. Hi, Carol. Hi, Fatima. I feel like there is a little bit of a lag. Welcome, everyone. I'm just going to wait a couple more minutes for everyone to join before we get started. I'm struggling to get you guys in the comments. Okay. If you can see me and hear me clearly, please let me know. There is a little bit of a connection issue on my side, not with the live, but me actually joining in. So I do apologize. I'm just going to allow that to refresh and then I'll, greet everybody by name. But it's good to have you all here. Welcome. And a very special welcome to two of our community members. A very special happy birthday to Raksha and Aisha. I'm not sure if you have already joined, but if you have, a blessed happy birthday to you both. I hope that you had a wonderful day and that this year is truly going to be very, very special. And thank you for joining tonight. I really hope that this live will give you a big smile on your face and that you will really enjoy it. So let me introduce myself. My name is Caroline Teixeira and I'm a proud Cricut ambassador. And tonight I'm going to be teaching a beginner's class on how to engrave a keyring and also a bookmark, both made from acrylic. Now, what's engraving? Engraving is a technique that adds a permanent decorative carving into materials such as acrylic or stainless steel or even leather. So if you're excited and intrigued about engraving with your Cricut, I highly recommend you investing in a Cricut Maker series machine such as the Maker 4. These are the only Cricut machines that are able to engrave. They both have the tools and also the power to do so. So unfortunately, if you have any other Cricut machines, they won't be able to engrave. So this class is sponsored by Cricut South Africa and Logitech. So let me show you what we're going to be doing today. Okay, I think I've got you guys in the comments. Yes. Hi, Carol. Hi, Lolly. Okay, wonderful. Let me show you guys. Okay, so here is our project. It is an acrylic blank. I hope you can see. There we go. Beautifully engraved by the machine. It's very, very elegant. And here is our keyring. Hope you guys can see. There we go. Very, very cool. All right, so we're going to be doing this together. Hi Candice, good morning to you too. Okay, so like I mentioned before, we are going to be needing a Cricut Maker series machine and our acrylic blanks and a StrongGrip mat so that it is not going to be moving anywhere. Some masking tape to tape it down if your mat is not as sticky as it once was. And the star of the show today is the Cricut Engraving tip. So as you can see, the tip is number 41, and this comes attached to a quick swap housing which has a little button plunger thingy on top. And there are many tools or tips rather that you can purchase to have fit into this quick swap housing. That is debossing, the scoring wheel, both the double and the single, and there is, I think, the wavy blade, and there are tons of other tips that you can use with that tool, which is wonderful. So then you can purchase just one of those tools and then have all the tips fit into it. Okay, and then I wanted to actually show you a couple of other projects that I have used to engrave. So this is a stainless steel pendant or disc, and this is also a very cool business opportunity where you could engrave a pet's name and then sell it to pet owners, which is a very cool and personal thing to do. And one of my very first projects that I've ever created or with engraving was personalizing my wedding cake lifter. Now this one was a little bit of a trial and error. As you can see, I've cut my husband's name there a little bit. But like I mentioned before, this is one of my first engraving projects, so it was definitely one of my trial runs. So this is also, again, a very cool business opportunity that you can do for weddings or engagements or anything special like that. And it's a really wonderful business opportunity. There is a different way of placing this on your mat when engraving. So if you want to know how to do that and you want to join in a class for that, please do let us know and we can organize one of that. Okay, one thing to definitely note when it comes to your blanks when wanting to engrave, the maximum width or depth for your blank would need to be 2.4 millimeters, because that is what is going to fit underneath these rollers when engraving. So nothing more than 2.4, and I think these usually come in about 1 millimeter to 2 millimeters, which is perfect for engraving. Another thing to note is already mine is to the side, but these star wheels that you have on your machine roller, I pop it to the right side of my machine, or else it's just going to cause a bit of indentation when feeding your material through your machine. Welcome Kamal, welcome Rulani, welcome to everyone that is joining in now. Oh, someone received a joy too for their birthday. That is super exciting. A huge congratulations. That is wonderful. Okay. Alrighty, so without further ado, let's get to designing. So the link has already been shared. It is in the description. So if you want to follow along or you want to create from scratch, please do open up Cricut Design Space, open up a new canvas, and let's get designing together. So as you can see, here is my project. And I'm going to just change it up ever so slightly. This is actually a gift for two of my daughter's best friends whose birthday is tomorrow. They are sisters but not twins, but they were born on the same day. So I thought it would be so nice to give them something similar yet have their own personal touch, and therefore we're going to be changing it up a little bit. So this is the one I just showed you here. Just want to zoom in a little bit. There we go. And we are going to be changing the flower today, and we're going to be doing the rose. Okay, so I'm actually going to just hide all of these and we can start from scratch. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to be needing is a few shapes as templates for our engraving space. So for the bookmark, I'm going to use this rounded corner square, and then for the keyring a circle, and I'm going to need another 2 circles just to mimic the little incision where the tassel and the keyring gets pulled through. I just want it to look as similar as my blank as possible. So here you would need to add the exact measurements for your blank just to help with placing once we click on Make It. So I'm going to change all of these from operations to basic cut to a guide, and I'm going to put in my measurements. So my circle was 4.9, so 4,9, and then my bookmark was, just going to unlock that so that it doesn't proportionalize it. Width is 3.95, and then my height was 14.99. Okay, so there is my 2 templates, and then I'm going to align these 2 little circles together, and I'm going to change it to a 0.6. Okay, and I'm just going to place it, just eyeballing it more or less where it would be. It would definitely be centered horizontally. I'm just eyeballing my blank over here and just putting it a little bit down, and then I'm going to align them horizontally, and I'm going to attach it. Okay, so there are my 2 templates. Now I'm going to change it from a guide to a pen. Now we are not going to be drawing with our machine today, but it is going to just give us that perfect placement once we put it onto our mat. So we're going to allow our machine to do its thing, but we're not going to be loading a pen when it asks for it so that we can place. But I'll show you that just now when we click on the Make It screen. Some biscuits have been promised in the comments. Just as long as I get some, I'd very much appreciate that. Okay, so now to personalize our 2 blanks, we are going to need some images. So let's click on images. And the easiest way in which to see if something would be pretty much compatible for engraving would be to maybe curate your images to a drawer, just so that you can more or less visualize what the engraving would be. I am going to be showing you as a beginner how to engrave, but Lolly has done a wonderful way of showing you how to do it a little bit more intermediate level in how to actually fill in all these shapes when engraving. So if you are looking to expand that side of your creativity, please do go have a look at that. And yeah, tonight we're going to keep it a little bit more simple, and we're going to fill it in ever so slightly just to give it more of a bold effect. Hi, Soraya. Okay, so I'm going to be choosing the exact rows that I had there. So I'm going to add the image number, and that is M5067183B. Okay, so there is that pretty rose. And I'm just going to put that onto my canvas. And then for my keyring, I'm also going to be choosing a rose, and I'm going to pop in the number. Okay, and that's M4BB95308. Okay. Enter. Oh dear. Cannot be found. Did I write it wrong? M4BB95308. Okay. Let's see. Maybe I need to. There we go. Okay, it was obviously not a draw image, so it wasn't finding it. So once I clicked on not just drawing, it popped up over there. Okay, so that's actually a very cool way to keep your favorite designs on hand if you have their code. Okay, so let's change these up. They look very different to what we are actually needing. So let's start with our keyring. Okay, so we're going to obviously need to resize it so that it will fit into our keyring. So I'm just going to eyeball that. And just allow some space for that, yeah, that circle over there. I'm quite happy with that. I obviously want to make it as big as possible. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, so now we are going to change it to the engrave function. And there we go. Obviously that changes it quite a lot. And so to give it more of a bold standout effect, I'm going to try fill it in a little bit. So let's go over to effects and choose an offset. So this is going to be a minus offset. So I just want to move it over here so we can see what's going on. Okay, so we want not that one, sorry, no, the rows. Okay, so let's click on offset and let's go into the minus. And this, of course, we can play around and see what suits our likes, if I can put it that way. So I'm quite happy with that, but I want to maybe do 2. So maybe we can maybe make it a little bit less. So let's try a 0.15. That does look good. And I'm going to hit apply. And there already it's giving it so much more of a detail. Okay, and then with that offset, I'm going to create one more. Let's see if that looks good. And already there, it's already looking even more so like a rose instead of just the outline. I feel like there's a challenge coming. Kamal says he has not engraved yet. And Nadia also has not engraved. So I'm really looking forward to everyone's engraved projects this week. Okay. So there we go. I'm happy with my rows as is. So I'm going to select all 3 of my offsets and I'm going to click attached for now. I still want to add a name. So let's do that. I think if we can add the same name as the bookmark, it will create cohesiveness. So let's do that. Okay, so let's see. Her name is Zia. Okay, so let's size it right down so that we can fit it into that little space. Okay, I'm just going to change the sizing a little bit. So I'm just going to unlock that and just widen it up a little bit. Let's make it 2. Let's see if that, yeah, that looks good. Okay. So I'm going to select this one and just going to take it away from that group. And I'm going to change its function to engrave. And I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to just detach that and I'm going to select all 3 of my roses, my rows, my 2 offsets, and also the name. And I'm going to create one more offset, but it's going to be a 0 offset so that the machine will do this twice. Of course, with the Maker series machines, you can always, before unloading your mat, you can always click the go button again and it will repeat the same steps. But this is just one easy way of already allowing it to do twice, so that it just gives it more of a deeper cut, if you will. Okay, so let's do that. Offset 0, apply. Oh, I did that already. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. So let's select all of these and I'm going to click attach so that it does it all at once at the same place. Okay, and I'm happy with that. And once again, I'm going to select both my blank and my engraving image and I'm going to click attach so that it will be placed together on the mat once I click on the Make It. Okay, so there is our keyring done. So let's move on over to our bookmark. Okay, so I feel like this bookmark or this rose is missing a stem. So I'm going to duplicate my rose. And I'm going to go over here to my layers panel and see if I can add another piece of stem to the bottom. And I'm going to look for either one of these stems. So I'm going to click on hide all contours and it will always select one. So I'm going to select the one that I actually want and then deselect that and click apply. And there is that piece of stem that I have kept when I contoured the rest of it. And I'm going to delete this part of that name. And there is a little piece of stem. I'm going to just flip it horizontally and maybe rotate a little bit. That seems nice. I like that. Just to add a little bit more detail to this. Okay, especially because her name is quite short, I think this just gives it a little bit more length. Okay, so let's change the name to Sia. And for me, I prefer reading it to this side. So I'm going to flip the name entirely to the other side. And for now, just going to ungroup it and place it wherever I feel looks right. Okay, so I'm changing it from pen to engrave and sizing it a little bit wider. Let's see, maybe a 4.5, and that looks quite nice. I'm going to create an offset again for this, just to maybe give it a little bit more of a bolder effect. I see it's a little bit thinner compared to what the rose is. So let's go something quite minimal, but will still make a huge difference. Let's go a little bit smaller. Let's try 20. I think that looks good. Just zoom in a little bit. Maybe a little bit less. Offset, let's do 0.15. Okay, yes, I like that. Okay. Oh, remember to select both when moving them. I might just want to widen it up a little bit and make it a little bit longer. Okay. All right, I'm happy with that. Okay, and then once again, I'm going to select all of my engraving pieces and selecting an offset of 0 so that the machine will do that twice. Click apply, and I'm going to attach all of them together. Just making sure I'm happy with the placement. I'm going to select both my elements, align, and select it horizontally. Okay, I'm happy with that. And I like the simplicity of just that outline for the rose on the bookmark. I think it looks very, very elegant. Okay, so we are done. We can go on to our Maker screen so that we can create some magic. So Carol says, I tried engraving a cheese slicer and my machine almost swallowed it under the roller. So yes, that is what I was talking about when it comes to engraving on something that has a bit of a handle. I will show you now on what to do when it comes to something like that. Okay, I forgot to attach these two. Remember, we need to attach it so that we can place it onto our mat, and it's going to be both placed so that we can eyeball it. And for those that have iPhones or are iOS users, I've got a cool hack for you guys. This is such a genius feature, and I will be showing you how to do that. And for that, I'm going to use my phone. But let's just place this on our mat so that I can show you. So what I like to do, I'm just going to flip our screen. Okay, so what I like to do is always work in the middle. I actually like working on the side of 15 for some reason. And then I see more or less where I'm going to place my blank. So I like to, like I mentioned, worked on my 15. Then I know it's the middle of the mat. And then I just make sure I use all the blocks to make sure where I'm going to place my blanks. So for iOS users, I'm going to quickly just show you a hack, and then I will place it for everyone else. Okay, so I'm going to be placing this wherever I want to. I'm not going to be too precise when it comes to this, because with this snap mat feature, you are going to be taking a photo of your mat, and then you can place your virtual image exactly onto your actual blank, wherever that may be. So I'm going to be putting this in somewhere random, just so to give you an idea. Okay. Now you are going to get your iPhone or iPad. Just opening up my Design Space on my phone. Going to this project. And I'm going to click on Customize. And click on Make It. Select Matte. It's very bright. Okay. Just want to hide. Hold on. Just need to attach all my pieces. Let's attach that. And hide these for now. Okay, let's click on Make It. So there is the screen is very bright. Both my bookmark and my keyring. And I'm going to click on Make It. I'm going to select on Mat, confirm, and there is my mat. Now I can place it wherever I want to if I'm going to be just cutting it as per normal. But here at the bottom, there is a camera button that says Snap Mat. Now I'm going to click on that, and then it's going to open up my camera. So then you're going to place it on top of your mat. Let's see if I can do this like this. Okay, and I just need to align it perfectly, my mat, on that little square that it is giving me, and it will take a photo. Let me just make sure that it is flat. It's almost like it's a QR code when it is busy scanning. So it's telling me to position my mat close to the frame edge, and the app will scan it automatically. Let's do it this side. I'm struggling just a little bit. I wonder if it's too bright in here. So please bear with me. I'm going to be showing you now on the camera. There we go. Okay, so I took a photo of my mat. And there you have it. So there's my purple mat, exactly how it is. I had to turn it around. And now I'm going to say use. And now here is both my bookmark that we designed together and also my keyring. And now I can place it perfectly wherever I have my blank. So of course I did not take the protective layer off as yet, so it's going to be a little bit difficult to see, but there you have it, perfectly placed where your blanks are, and then you can click on Make It and it's going to find it perfectly. It's honestly such a genius feature. I have used it a handful of times. I'm not always one to design on my phone, so that is the only reason why I don't always use this. But this feature is so awesome, especially when one has a lot of offcuts of different colored iron-ons or vinyls or whatever material you are using, and you want to personalize, let's say, a tote bag. So if you've got tons of little offcuts and you want to personalize a tote bag full of little details like hearts and flowers and all of that with different colors, then you use on your mat, or on your canvas rather, one color for all of your designs, and then you place all your offcuts around your mat and you can fill them up and align them perfectly, and it's going to cut all in one mat, which is such a awesome trick to do. So if you do have an iOS phone or tablet, run. This is such a wonderful tip to be doing. And for those that don't, unfortunately it is only available for iOS, so I'm sorry for those that cannot use it, but obviously this is just something extra and you are still able to use your machine as per normal. Okay, so let's get back to designing it this way. Okay, so here is my blank. Most acrylic blanks have a protective layer on both the back and the front, so I'm just going to be removing the top one for now, and I'm going to be placing it on the 15 right in the middle and placing it there. Okay, I'm going to move my keyring and going to remove the protective film on top, and I'm going to place it right underneath my bookmark, and it fits perfectly in these 4 blocks. So I'm going to be doing the same on my mat as well. Whoopsie daisy. It's a very new and sticky mat, which is wonderful to work on. And I know it is not going anywhere. Okay, so I am happy with my placement. I'm going to take my brayer and brayer it down. And for some extra protectiveness, you can add some masking tape. I probably don't need to because my mat is so very new, but I think just to show you more or less, you would need to make sure that it is not covering any of your area that you're going to be engraving on. So I'm honestly just going to be placing it down with my masking tape on an area that I'm not going to be engraving. So of course you can taper this down as much as possible. I try not to waste my masking tape, so I'm going to just do a very thin line on the side, both sides. And same with my disc. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm going to be removing my template, whoopsie, and adding my engraving tip. So the gears need to go, the open gears need to go to the back, so once the machine registers the tool, it is able to do so, like that. Okay. All right, so here is my virtual mat. I'm going to place my bookmark like so, and it is aligning perfectly on my mat here too, so that is perfect. And then my keyring right underneath. It is going to overlap here slightly, but remember we are not going to be using the pen, so I just want to make sure that my engraving image is perfectly in line and it's going to fit perfectly in my circle. So yeah, just make sure to double check, and that looks good. So I'm going to click on continue. And here it shows all the base materials that is compatible with our project, or what has been selected as a basic cut or operation. So I'm going to click on my acrylic thin 1mm, and it's asking me to load the black pen, which we are not going to be doing that, and then the engraving tool in clamp B. Okay, so I'm going to load my mat. Okay, and click play. Okay, so Fatima is asking, where do we get the blank bookmarks and round discs? There are many different retailers that do sell the blanks. I got mine on Take A Lot. I actually just want to make sure. It looked like it was using the pen marks for the name for some reason. Just want to make sure that everything is set to engrave. Sorry, forgive me, just give me a minute. I hadn't changed my rows to engrave, so I do apologize for that. Let me show you what's going on here. Okay, so my rows was set to draw, so I saw that the machine was doing that, and now I'm changing it to engrave. Just want to make sure everything is engrave other than the blank. Okay, sorry about that. I'm glad I caught that, or else we would have not had a pretty flower to engrave. Okay, so once again, placing that on my 15, I like to place the circle right in the middle, and then I can check that on both sides the spacing is more or less the same. And then for this one as well, that looks good. Okay, continue. Once again, choosing my material, and then let's load it. Okay. Okay, play. Okay, so now obviously we did not load the pen, so the machine is still going to think it's going to be doing that. So let's just allow it to do its thing. and watch it engrave. Oh, I'm glad, Anna Marie. We can all learn in any place and time that we're at. So yeah, we're happy to have you here. And hopefully one day you can upgrade to a maker and then you can engrave your own. So if anyone has any questions, please pop it down in the comments. I have missed a couple of comments, but we have a lovely group of admin ladies that are ready to answer your questions. Candace says she also does the center thing too. Yeah, for some reason it just helps. So we saw some of the questions that popped up this week was if your machine can re-engrave. What's nice about the Maker 4 and all the Maker machines is that it has a go button, and so you do not have to unload it before, or before unloading your mat rather, you can press the go button again and then it will redo everything that it was set out to do in the first place. So if you feel that maybe it could just add an extra cut or an extra engraving layer, then you can always click on play and have it do that. So this is another bookmark that I created, and this was with the class that Lolly had presented, and this is basically an image that is filled with many different lines that you use to slice your image from, and then that creates that beautiful solid finish. But if you look really closely, it is made up of all these tiny little lines, and it gives it more of a solid finish, which is a really cool class to do. So have a look in that. I'm not sure when Lolly had done the class. I do think it was already last year at this point, but that's also a very nice class to do. And I always keep a little feather dusty thingamajiggy on hand when I engrave. Not so much for a simple project like I'm doing today, but I have filled up a mat full of bookmarks. I think whatever fitted was about 10 for a farmer's market that we had actually done, and that was one of the bookmarks that I had put, and it creates quite a lot of dust as it engraves into the acrylic blank. That particles does come out, and then I just like to, once the project is halfway basically done, I like to pause it and then just clean my tool, and then I use this little guy. And once I also unload and remove everything off the mat, I like to just dust everything off. So that's why I keep this on hand. I think some people also like to use a makeup brush, so that is also very, very cute. So that is something to consider having when and if you engrave a lot of projects. Nadia says, I've seen people use a non-tacky lint roller to clean up, and that is also very, very cool. I have seen that. I've not yet tried it. So I usually also just take a little bit of the masking tape to pick up a bit of it, and then I use my little duster to dust the rest off. But I do definitely want to try that. I think it's worth having, especially when doing iron-on projects, just to clean up and just to lift up all those little threads and unwanted hair before ironing on. So yeah, something I definitely need to invest in. Lolly says she enjoys infusible ink with engraving on the Cricut aluminium sheets. That is definitely a must to do. I have done it before, but not quite something that I really liked as a project. But I think with filling in your design and with infusible ink, I think it would look so awesome, and the creativeness can really spark some wonderful projects. Okay, so I am happy with my engraving. Oopsie, I pressed the wrong button. I pressed go again. Okay, so our engraving is done. So I'm just going to close my machine and move it a little bit out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to remove the masking tape and lift up the particles that it has left off. Okay. Don't want to do too much on my mat. So I like just to do this because these particles can go onto your mat as well, and then it will decrease or remove the stickiness and in time. So I just like to do that so that I prevent that from happening. Okay, and then I'm going to just lift it slowly. There we go. Close my mat. Okay. And here is my bookmark. So I'm just going to dust it away. And my keyring as well. Oh, wow. Looks so beautiful. I love it. Okay, let me just remove the backing. Oh wow, the offsets really made such a difference. Really looks so pretty. Okay, and the backing for this one. And there is, it's so difficult to show you. Let's do it like this. And there you have it. It is a lot bolder in real life. So, oh, there you go. There you can see it. It's really, really pretty. So that is our project done. Just going to thread through the pretty tassel. There we are. And then add my little keyring part. We need some pliers. Be careful not to scratch it. There we go. Okay, so now of course you can leave the project as is, but you can also add another layer to it, and you can fill it with a bit of pigment. So I definitely had that done with the previous project, and it's slightly, you can see the difference there, gives it a little bit more of a depth. So I went to P&A and I found this antique rub. It is called Rub and Buff, I believe, and this is silver. They do have a copper and a gold, and it doesn't really add pigment, but it gives it more of a shimmer, which really is always welcome. So I just open it up a little bit here, and I'm going to place it here just because that is my mouse pad and I don't want to damage that. So I'm just going to take some, it's a bit of a thick paste, and I'm going to dab it in to the engraved outlines, just to make sure I'm really getting this pigment in there. And I have read that you can use your finger if you have gloves on, but I feel like the brush just will make it a lot more easier. Okay, so I'm really getting in there, and I'm just going to allow for it to dry for a couple of seconds so that I can just wipe it off. Okay, let me quickly do the bookmark. So I'm just dabbing it in there. Now I'm just going to take a wet wipe and clean off the excess. it makes such a massive difference without really adding color to it. I wonder how the gold would look. I think that would also look very, very pretty. But I like the simplicity of the silver. It actually just makes the image elevated and bolder, if you will. Okay, I'm going to remove it from the bookmark. It's got such a pretty shimmer to it. I love it. And there it is. Such a quick, easy project to do, and it really gives the most personal touch to a gift. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed tonight's live and that you learned something, one or two things. And yeah, thank you for joining and spending the evening with me. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. And Raksha and Aisha, once again, happy birthday. We love that you're here, and have a wonderful evening. We'll see you in the next class. Good night.